And just like that, we're back. Welcome to Omega FM. This is your host, Travon Mohammed. And we've been talking over the last hour about a few different issues. We've been talking about finance in the struggle. We've been talking about some of the events that have been happening in France. And if you'd like to talk about that some more, then give us a call on 07539968143. Right now, though, we're going to have a slight change of topic, and we're going to be discussing feminism. And we've been talking about it just in the break time, because more and more, personally, what I've seen is more and more young sisters, in particularly, identifying as feminists. And you know, there's been a lot of conversation about overturning, you know, the patriarchal kind of society, and people talk about things like the pay gap, domestic abuse, women's rights, gender roles, and stuff like that. And really, what I wanted to get into is feminism for black women? Because, and this is something I've been having this discussion quite a lot recently with different sisters in terms of who identify as feminists, but is that for black women? Because when you look, I guess, at the feminism, it has its roots in terms of the rise of Caucasian women, in terms of them trying to, you know, break the glass ceiling and deal with the treatment that they've received from, I guess, dominant males. How does that relate, though, to the black community and black women in particular? How do we see that?
All right, let me start with an answer for that. One of the things is, like, feminism in the Caucasian community, the cave community as we call it, is slightly different, because you're talking about power for women and what men actually control. So where does that come with regards to the black woman? Now, the black man can't give black women an equal pay rise. The black man can't give the black women, you know, there's a lot of things. We live in a cave beast society right now, i.e. the UK. That's what we call them. So there's a lot of things that a black man cannot give the black women, because they're basically effectively on a similar footing to yourself. They have to either become an entrepreneur and try and make millions, or go and get the same job that you might be going for. There is an issue with the pay gap generally, but that is that a feminist movement or just an equalities movement? Do you know what I mean? Being a woman, does that come under the feminism thing, or men included in that nowadays, as we're so asexual and equal, and you know, the whole thing's got boys wearing skirts to school, and so where does the word feminism actually begin and then end?
Well, from what I understand and from what I've been told, it's that focus on female issues. One of the sisters I was speaking to was saying, you know, women just need to be able to discuss their issues and the things that affect them. And, you know, as a feminist, it's like, you know, that's where your focus is. You're focused on those issues.
What is that, like childbirth, your monthly cycle? Why can't our things be free, like male things that they need? You know, where does it end? What things are affecting women? Like, you say, for example, domestic violence. Domestic violence works both ways. But yes, it will probably, from a strength perspective, affect women more. Is that a feminism issue, though? Do you understand what I'm like, let me just put my thing out there. I'm confused about the title feminism or the feminist movement as such, because what does that actually mean? Because a lot of the things that are included in there, do I have to be a feminist to say that I agree or disagree with them? Or is it just an issue that needs to be addressed by society as a whole?
And that's what that's the question I wanted to pose. Does it benefit us? Who does it benefit to segregate, I guess, those kind of issues, to say these are male issues? I guess mass incarceration, you could say, is a male issue. You know, school exclusions could be seen as a male issue. And then to have female, who does it actually benefit us? And if it doesn't, then who does it benefit?
I would say, does it benefit us? Emphatically, no. I think it's more detrimental to us, because this feminism isn't even helping us, because the main issue that we as black women suffer with is white women, and we're not addressing that in the feminist movement. Our major issue is the image in society that we need to look like white women, and they never talk about this in feminism. You know, even in the workplace, they talk about workplace equality, but they're not talking about the fact that when we apply for a job, we have to look like white women in order to get the job. That's what I struggle with feminism, because they kind of like put it to us as black women in a way to say that black feminism is chanting down the black man. But white feminism is about getting equality in the workplace and getting equal rights. But however, ours is limited to getting onto Twitter, getting onto social media and talking about black men. That's all black feminism seems to be to me. So emphatically, no, it doesn't work for us. It was never designed to work for us because it wasn't for us. Because when you look at the history of feminism in the 60s when it first came out, the first march that they had, the black women had to march at the back.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that don't even make sense to me. So now in 2017, you know, the trend is get on Twitter, change your name to black feminist.
Why?
For what reason? What change are you making in our community? What changes have you made for black women? That's my question.
One of the things I think we've got to look at really is the condition, I guess, of black males within the community, because arguably you could say the power base, I think it's, well, I don't know how people see it, but the power base in the black community you could argue is feminine, because you don't see many homes, single parent householders, and it's generally a single mother. Black men often not really around. If they are around, not necessarily in a position to, you know, take charge of things, so to speak, financially. And when you compare that to, I guess, the situation that I guess Caucasian women may find themselves in, you know, they have their husbands maybe, you know, big businessmen, working it. You know what I mean? It's a completely different situation. And I would argue maybe that black men need a hand up more than a kicking down, considering the current position. But one of the things that's kind of stuck with me about it though is when they talk about female empowerment, because that's what and I think it's all with the feminist label. It's kind of everything's kind of been squashed into one box under a label. But in terms of female empowerment, what does that actually look like? Then how would we define that? How do we define female empowerment?
Sisterhood. That's female empowerment, because, you know, when you come together as sisters, when you're lifting somebody else up, that's lifting yourself up. But it's about the balance. You can't talk about empowerment and lifting other people up when you're putting down somebody else in order to get your empowerment, because that's not empowering yourself. That's just showing that you're not confident in yourself. And if you're confident in yourself, then you cannot lift others. But the feminists aren't showing me that. Like, I would need a strong example of a black feminist who's working in our community alongside the black man and alongside the black woman. That would make me have a positive thought about it.
I thought about it.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. We're going to touch on this very quickly before we kind of move on. But this argument in terms of equality and gender roles and stuff, because even this now is what people are talking about is common. And when you talk to people who go into university and they're studying, these are the kind of modules that people are studying now, and this is becoming, you know, quote unquote conscious, you know, conversation to a certain extent. How do we see that when we talk about gender roles? A lot of people say, you know, that women are kind of made to feel that they have to take on certain roles within a family, and men have to take on certain roles, and that should all be sort of scrambled up. How do we see that?
Right, let me quickly. Do you know what I think on that is gender roles? There are gender roles. Women give birth. Women breastfeed. Women nurture the child. They are gender roles, and we need to stop trying to put everyone in one amalgamated big hump of everything, and then we're going to start complaining that our men are too feminine. So at the end of the day, well, exactly, because we got them wearing skirts and dresses. So at the end of the day, there is a role for women. Do you know what I mean? No one's saying that a man can't wash clothes or a man can't look after the children and all the other things, and women can't go out and work. Yes, that is. But in the society we live today, it should be like it's a mix and match sometimes. If you're in a position as a man that your wife can afford or your partner can afford to stay at home whilst they raise the children, then continue with what you're supposed to be doing. If you're in a position where they can't stay at home and raise your children and do the washing, cooking, cleaning and all the other things that come with it, then both of you have to go to work. And if you finish work first, then you go and pick up the children, you take them home and you feed them, you bath them, you put them to bed. But you have to work in as a team. Do you know what I mean? All of this kind of back in the day, you know, when we look at nostalgia and how we were in Africa and all those things, is all wonderful and great, and it will be great to get back to that. But the reality is we live in Babylon. And right now, whilst we're in Babylon, they're pushing you, as you're giving birth, they're pushing you back to work. Do you know what I mean? If you don't go to work, then tutus, they're going to tell you that you can't look after your child because they're kicking you out your house or moving you to Mukalan where you have no family or friends to support you. So right now we need to adapt to the circumstances and the environment that we're in, because the nostalgia that we seem to think that our parents probably had, we don't have that anymore. That has actually gone, unless you've got grandparents. And our grandparents are working till what, 73? Do you know what I mean? The kids' grandparents are working till 70 odd. So really, who's looking after your children? Unless you get yourself into a position of financial and economic status that you can actually look after your partner, your children, etc. Or just don't have none until you can do that. Or you open your own damn business. That's about it. The economics, we go back again. But if the black men are being kicked out of school by the age of 14, 15, 16... do you understand what I'm saying? You see where the cycle goes. You know, the prison systems are there. They're making money from you.
And I think, you know, what comes to mind is, I remember around the time when Fidel Castro passed away, they looked at his legacy, and I was doing some research, and they talked about him being an empowerer of women. And what it was is, he felt that women should be able to serve the nation in whichever way they chose. So in terms of education at the time, a lot of the women were illiterate, so they got education, making sure, you know, some of them wanted to be pilots. When some of the group of women came and said they wanted to be pilots, they were flying planes. A couple months later, they were flying planes and dropping bombs in the war. But his mindset was that women should be able to serve the nation in whichever way they choose. But what was key is it was still service. And I feel like the way that feminism is talked about now, it's kind of like, it's not you are serving someone, but it's not benefiting us.
But do you know what the thing is? It just seems to be very angry. Everyone's angry about something that they don't really need to be angry about. How about just communicating with other people? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like a lot of women that I've come across who use the title feminist tend to be quite angry about men, angry about society, angry about other women, and just angry. And it's like, well, if you're that angry about everything, just move to an island where you can do what you like. But it's not working. It's not, and then you're being so divisive when there could be someone who doesn't classify themselves as a feminist as such, but just someone that wants to get on and do the right thing. You can't do that because you're not a feminist, so you're not part of our camp, or you're not LGBT, so you're not part of our camp, or you're not this, so you can't be part of our... There's so many labels and titles. Why not just get on with getting on and just fight for the right things that we need to? And do you know what I mean? Chant down Babylon.
Bro, David, how do you see it? How do we address these kind of issues, but in a cooperative manner, as opposed to more of a a separative way?
What I think is that we are so in this instant world, instant society. Every day something new we're reading and hearing, and we have no moral compass to base our life on anymore. Generally, people who have religion, people who have faith, they've got a moral base to live their life.
That's being taken now, because
you choose to let it go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If you haven't got hold of it properly, but if you understand, if we understand a moral base is the sun, moon, and stars. You're talking about life. You get up, you see the sun, you go to bed and wake up again. The sun is there. That never changes. There's certain principles of how life works, and with that in a context of when the problem is when the European comes with an idea, we look at it as the idea. Like it's the right thing, like it's God has spoken.
But they told us that.
Instead of saying he's come with an idea, some are good, some are very strange and weird. We're not accepting that foolishness. You keep that for yourself.
Good luck to you with that. Yeah.
We're not taking it on board. So that's where we're at right now. It's now what do we have? What do we want to have as a life? What does he say he wants us to have? And we choose.
But that's the thing. I think that filtering process, that decision process, I think, because like you said, the lack of a moral compass now means we're going betwixt and between whatever the new trend is, and we're starting to recite the things that we're told as though they're our opinion. And people can get very passionate about, that's just what I think. No, it's what you were given.
So I get in context. We're like talking about a Titanic situation. We're on a ship sinking. Now, if we're on a ship sinking, and I am drowning, and there's sister on a dinghy there, and she holds her hand out to help me, and I'm saying, no, I'm not going to take your hand because you're a woman, then that's a problem I have. That's a problem I have with women. Respecting my life now. You get me? So then I need counselling. I need help with that. I'm in a bad state now. You get me? Listen,
Trust me, now I can make it.
I'm not gonna make it. If I'm thinking about abusing her when she's trying to save me, then I'm in a bad state. So I'm looking at it in a context now. We're on a ship sinking. So we have issues with someone trying to save us, then we got to deal with that. Because of their sex, then we got to deal with that. But it's in a context of we're on a ship sinking. What is that which we're standing on? Is that helping in that context?
Exactly.
Or just I'm a feminine, I just want to go down and drown as a feminine? It doesn't make no sense.
Do you know what? I was out answering a phone call from a young soldier, Malachi. I want to talk to you about that in a minute. So, I know we've been talking about feminism, so I've missed that. Tell me, can we just give me a recap here? No, don't give me a look, man. Some of the listeners might want the recap too. So, where are we at with this? Are we in favour of it? What do we have?
No, we think it's this.
Sydney's coming in to answer. Go ahead, Sydney.
What did I do?
Okay, yeah. To sum it up, you know, collectively, we all think that feminism is BS.